Good morning, folks. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Well, I like it when it rains. It's actually raining out here, but I love it. I love a good rainy day. Um, it's been so hot lately. Good morning, Creek Squad. Love you guys. I love everybody. Everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching this, viewing this, leaving comments on a lot of my other stuff. A lot of stuff going on, guys. I wanted to get on here and talk about Oliver Anthony Chris Lunsford is his real name. Um, and I wanted to kind of, him being a new artist, I typically cover a lot of upchurch stuff and country rap stuff, but I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that he's been talking about lately. He's recently jumped into, all these people have adopted this new song as their anthem, right? Men North of Richmond. And I still think, he is an amazing person, amazing writer, amazing singer. There's only very few songs that can just politically, or in his case, he says it's not political, but very few cases that can just charge up the whole country, right? And everybody immediately just, lose their minds over it and share it and whatnot. There's very few songs that are powerful enough to do that. I still love the guy's stuff. I still follow him on Facebook and YouTube and everything. And I think he's an incredible artist, even if, he doesn't agree with a lot of the stuff that he's been pulled into or whatever. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to also I'm going to jump into the Bible here, guys. I don't do it very much. I don't do it often. Maybe I should do it all the time. I don't know. But I like to keep my stuff about music. But I'm going to show you in the Bible when he talked about he doesn't like politics on either side. It's very odd to me because you hear his song and you're thinking, wow, that's pretty definitive of who he's talking about, which side of politics he's talking about. But he says that he doesn't like politics on either side. He's talking about corporate ran politicians in D.C. In other words, the ones who are lobbying and the ones who are just after the money and they don't care about the people, which would be more than just one party. There's a lot of them across the parties. So he's more of a libertarian type person, which I could go along with that. But Chris Oliver has talked a lot about the Bible. He actually read chapters from Psalms at his shows recently, and so I wanted to give my perspective because when he talked about he don't like any kind of politics, if he digs into the Bible a whole lot, I think I know which verse that he's getting that from. It's a verse that Jesus said, and I just wanted to tell everybody my opinion and why I think that he's saying that. Why I think he's saying he doesn't want to be involved in any politics on either side. I'm going to read that just in a second. But at the same time, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I kind of lean more toward libertarian also. I don't like the government in a whole lot of my situations in my business as well. But at the same time, I typically fall in line with a lot of Republican voters. Well, a lot of Republican candidates because of a lot of the morals they share. Or I share with them. So, you would think he's getting some backlash right now from the right. And whenever that song came out, a lot of right wingers jumped on it and they thought it was, specifically about Republicans and like going against the Democrat Party. He caught some flack. Oliver caught some flack because he stated, this is not just about Joe Biden. This is not about just getting him out of office. There's a bigger problem here with politicians. And I think he's right. However, the way that the song was written, which it's an incredible song, and I still love every word of it. The way that the song was written, talking about welfare and whatnot, you can't, and I'm not saying he was wrong for writing it this way, if he didn't want people to choose which side or whatever, but the way the song was written, there's usually one party that really goes in on welfare and they really make extra taxes go up to try to bring more money in to hand out to more people who are on welfare or food stamps or whatever, disability. A lot of times that's the Democrats. Um, and he's saying, if he is saying people are on welfare unjustifiably because they're, obese, and they could stop themselves from doing that just by eating fudge rounds or whatever, and they shouldn't be getting a welfare check just because they're obese, I can agree with that. And also, that is definitely a right wing thing. So, I hope he can. He says he's upset about it, but I hope he can see, like, hey, man, this is why people, the right wingers, are kind of adopting this song. A lot of them, myself included, is because you have a lot of truths that are conservative. I mean, let's just be honest. In my opinion, the Bible, maybe you say I don't take it one way or the other, but the Bible, if he's a Christian, he's reading from the Bible at his shows. If he's a Christian, the Bible, maybe not everything, but the Bible is inherently more conservative in nature. The way that it talks, about morals, obviously abortion is wrong. It talks about homosexuality. It talks about effeminate males. It talks about all kinds of stuff that would be typically conservative values. Um, so that's where everybody's getting confused here. Now, I'm going to read you the verse that I think that he is referring to, or that maybe he got his "I don't want nothing to do with politics at all" his feelings from, or his method or his theory or whatever. So in Matthew chapter 22, verse 21. This is Jesus talking. And in that day, it was Caesar Augustus. I can't remember which Caesar, but it was Caesar in the Rome who had the most power in that part of the world at that time. It was Caesar, and they asked Jesus. They were asking about taxes. They were asking about how do you feel about promoting Caesar? How do you feel about backing him politically? And Jesus said this. Jesus said, "They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them," the people said unto Jesus, "What about Caesar?" And he saith unto them, "Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." Okay, so what he's saying is, I don't have nothing to do with Caesar. I'm here for my reason. I'm here for God. I'm here for God the Father. I'm here to, and at that time they didn't know it, but I'm here to redeem the world through my sacrifice, my death on the cross. That's what he was worried about. And that's why he said, I don't care about Caesar. I don't care about politics and the things of Caesar, taxes and all that. He said, that's Caesar's business. Let Caesar deal with Caesar. I'm going to deal with me, which is kind of a libertarian stance, which is, I mean, if you should be, in my opinion, you should be somewhere in between there and Republican. He said that, I'll read it again. He said, "Render unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things which are God's." Pulled out the old family Bible this morning. It feels good. So that's where I think Oliver gets his philosophy. And here's the issue with that. I love that. I love that, right? Jesus even said it. But we don't know if he was just saying it because he just didn't care, if Caesar was corrupt, if he was saying it because it was just a cultural thing at the time. And he's like, hey, it's not a big deal. I'm going to do me. But nowadays, in America, in other countries especially, a political leader has so much responsibility. They directly affect people's lives. I mean, in some countries, the dictators, they can kill you. North Korea, they can kill you. Kim Jong-un still has the right, or the legal fortitude, whatever you call it, to kill somebody if they don't have one of the 5 haircuts he wants them to have. So, in my opinion, and I would love to just say, hey, I don't care about any politics, whatever. I shut a blind eye to it, and I do me, and I live my life. I do that sometimes. But whenever I see something that's wrong, I feel like I have an obligation as a Christian and as a person of morals to stand up against it. The reason why is because nowadays, I don't know about back then, but I feel like Jesus back then, he was focused on his mission. He didn't necessarily mean by that one verse, hey, you shouldn't get involved in any politics ever. I don't necessarily think he meant that throughout the course of history, because nowadays we have to live. We have to live in this. We have to live. We all have to share this beautiful country. We all have to make it the best we can make it. And we all have differences of opinion. And so I feel like at that time period, Jesus said, I'm here to do the most important thing, which is I'm here to focus on being a sacrifice, because he was God incarnate, so he knew what was coming. He's here to focus on being a sacrifice and redeem these people to God. Um, I don't feel like he was saying nobody should ever get involved in politics ever, because the famous quote, all that evil needs is for good men to sit and do nothing. I feel like we all should get involved morally if things go wild. I don't think we should just sit a blind eye to it either. But anyway, um, Oliver Chris Lunsford is talking about that verse. I believe it's something like that is what he believes, and which is fine. I still think he's an amazing artist. He wrote an amazing, incredible song, and I still think that it goes right wing more than left. I mean, I don't want him to be upset. He probably won't see this video anyway. I don't want him to be upset by that statement, but I just feel that way, just because of the subject matter in it, and whether he's young, whether he knows this or not. Technically, it leans that way. Um, but I think what he's trying to say is he didn't want to divide people, which is an admirable thing. He doesn't want to divide people. He wants that song to be for everybody to do better. But sometimes, in my opinion, you have to stand up. When you see evil as evil, you call a snake, you call a spade, and you stand up against it. And you can't be worried about what people think. I just wrote a new song, and it's pretty wild. And I've wrote songs like this before. I got one called Signed and Read by God. But I just wrote another song, and it's pretty powerful. Some things hit me the other day that bother me, and I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on that recording today. But yeah, guys, that's just what's going on with him lately. I still think he's an incredible person, and he's allowed to have his feelings about one side or the other. And for the most part, I agree with him as far as corporate America goes and politicians being paid off or whatever. That's sorry. The American government has been corrupted over the last 100 years, and so he's not wrong about that. All right, guys. Y'all have a great Sunday, and stay tuned. I got a lot of stuff I'm working on and coming out.